Tout le monde sait
Does everyone know?
qui est Pestalozzi,
Who is Pestalozzi?
Maria Montessori?
Maria Montessori?
Non,
No,
pas du tout.
not at all.
Bon, moi je dirais très
Very
bien.
well.
Comme ça, vous avez
Then you'll have some books to read.
ouvrages à lire. Quand?
When?
Quand? Pas pendant les
Not
vacances.
during your holidays.
Non, non.
No,
Après.
after the holidays.
Bon, voilà. Pestalozzi,
So, Pestalozzi, 1746, born in Zurich.
Dans ces années-là, on
During
connaît
those
un
years,
bourgeois
people came to
Pestalozzi.
Switzerland to see Pestalozzi.
On le définissait
A certain Friedrich Moritz Hill defined him as
pédagogue de
the
l'intuition.
teacher of intuition.
Maria Montessori,
Maria Montessori, 100 years later, in 1870, the first female doctor in Italy,
qui travaillera après
who later worked as a teacher, starting with mentally retarded children,
retardés mentaux ou bien
or decreed so.
décrétés
Yes, I said decreed.
de ces enfants que
That kind of child, about whom you say sometimes, between neighbors, he'll never be able to study.
Pourquoi ces deux ensemble?
So why these two names together? And why the idea
Génie
of
de
the
l'intuition.
genius of intuition?
Parce que les deux,
Because both of them,
et surtout
and especially Pestalozzi,
ont donné
gave a
une
primary importance to intuition,
primordiale à l'intuition.
intuition of the
l'enfant
children to learn.
pour apprendre,
You must be careful.
il faut faire attention, et
And intuition of the
de la part
master
du
when he
maître
teaches.
quand il enseigne. L'enfant, au fond, l'enseignement pour Pestalozzi,
Regarding the child, the very heart of teaching for Pestalozzi and Montessori is a simple and natural development. For example, nature. The seasons happen, sometimes delayed, sometimes early, but the seasons happen. We can't grow tomatoes, well, normally not, in February.
au mois de février. Or, avec
Now, with a
l'enfant,
child,
il
we
faut
have to go at his own
aller à
pace.
son rythme. Il faut
We have to
l'accompagner.
accompany him,
Il faut
to
l'aider.
guide him.
Le maître doit
The
avoir
master
une
must have a respectful attitude.
Ça vient et de
That
Pestalozzi,
comes both from Pestalozzi and Maria Montessori.
Pas besoin de discours,
No need for
pas besoin de
speeches,
théorie,
no need for
parce que le
theory,
maître est là.
because the master is there. Pestalozzi, Maria Montessori followed their pupils.
Dans l'enseignement,
In
il faut que
education,
l'enseignant,
the teacher must combine the two poles,
un peu
a bit
maternel,
maternal,
un peu
a bit
paternel.
paternal.
Si c'est le
A male
professeur,
teacher must have the maternal side,
c'est
a female teacher the paternal
le
one.
côté paternel. Je vous lis encore quelque
Let me read
chose.
you something else.
L'élève
The
doit
pupil
avoir
must have the
l'impression
impression
qu'il
that
a
he's
été
been
reçu
welcomed when he comes to
quand il
see
vient vous
you,
voir, quand il vous
when he
parle.
speaks to you.
Le respect
The
des
respect
valeurs
of the
de
other
l'autre
person's values is, as we know,
est
an act of
d'amour.
love.
Tout ce que je
In
vous ai
all
lu,
that I've just read to you,
moi, j'ai
I have
changé
changed the
le
word
mot
doctor
médecin ou
or health professional
professionnel de la santé par maître.
to master.
J'ai changé
I've
le
changed the
mot
word
patient
patient
par élève.
to pupil.
Vous aurez peut-être entendu
You may have
dire
heard sometimes someone
l'école
say,
Montessori.
the Montessori
Ah,
school,
l'école
it's the
Montessori,
school where
c'est
children can do what they want.
Pas du tout, hein.
Not at all.
C'est
It's
le
self-respect.
respect du soi. Et même un
And
collègue,
even a colleague who's a teacher
enseignant, me disait,
once said to
ah,
me,
moi, j'ai vu dans une
oh yeah,
école,
I saw in a Montessori school 3 or 4 children who were learning French with a teacher.
travailler avec la maîtresse pour faire du français, d'autres sujets, puis un tout seul,
And then another one, all on his own,
il était en
who was
train
enjoying himself.
de s'amuser. Il avait déjà
He'd already
dessiné,
drawn this,
voici, plus ou moins un carré,
a square more or less,
et il était
and he was
pris,
so immersed in it
et la maîtresse
that the
l'a
teacher
laissé
left him
là
alone
pendant
for a
très
very long
longtemps.
time.
Qu'est-ce qu'il voulait faire?
What did he want to do?
Après ça,
After that, he
il
tried
essayait un rectangle,
to draw a rectangle, a triangle,
un triangle. Et
and then,
avec
with what he
ce qu'il
had at
avait dans les
hand,
mains, et comme
and
pour
since in the Montessori
les enfants
method,
travaillent à la
children work in the
campagne
fields to get skills,
pour avoir de l'habilité, eh bien, à cet
that
enfant,
child
tu
had
avais
been
dit,
told,
bien entendu,
he had heard,
que tout
that
tout
everything that
existe
exists
à
has
ses côtés.
sides.
Alors, l'enfant
So the child was desperately looking to understand how there could be sides in this circle here.
pouvait y avoir des côtés ici. Et la maîtresse
And the teacher let him discover by
Et voilà
himself.
un des secrets de Pestalozzi.
So this is one of the secrets of Pestalozzi and Maria Montessori,
D'attendre
to wait until
que
the child discovers
découvre et
and
pose
asks
des
questions,
questions. Que découvre, pose
that he
des
discovers
questions.
and asks questions.
Vous savez que Platon a dit,
You know that Plato
nous
said,
étions capables
if we were able to teach how to ask questions,
de poser des questions,
people would find the truth themselves.
trouveraient la vérité tout seul. L'intuition.
Intuition.
Le moment
When the time comes,
venu, il faut
the
que le
teacher
maître
must seize that opportunity
saisisse cette occasion.
and continue.
Continuer. C'est le bon
It's the
moment,
right time, isn't it?
n'est-ce pas? Saisir
Seize the
l'occasion.
opportunity.
L'intuition
Intuition
nous dit,
tells us
voilà, c'est le bon
this is the
moment.
right time.
Qu'est-ce que
What
c'est?
is intuition?
Le verbe
The Latin verb
est le
is as
suivant.
follows.
Vous savez que les
As
mots
you may know,
d'une forme
this word comes from a Latin form called supinum.
tueo,
So the verb is tuer, tueris,
tuitus.
and tuitus.
Ce verbe
This verb
signifie-
means,
je vais vous
I'll tell you if by chance you want to look it up,
si par hasard vous voulez aller le chercher. Voilà, tueo,
tuer,
tueris,
tueris,
tuitus,
and tuitus
porter
means
ses
to
regards
look at,
sur.
to watch
Regarder
attentively,
attentivement. Être
to be turned
tourné
towards,
vers. Avoir
to have
les
one's
yeux
eyes fixed on,
sur. Même
even
se
to represent
représenter par la
by
pensée.
thought.
Si avec ce verbe seul,
If you
tuer,
add to this verb
je mets une préposition,
the Latin preposition in,
in, qui donnera intuition,
which gives
ça
intuition,
signifie alors
it then
porter
means
ses regards
to
à
look
l'intérieur,
within,
de constater que,
to see that, to keep an
avoir
eye on,
l'œil à, et même
and even
protéger.
to protect.
Alors voilà. Alors, qu'est-ce que c'est que l'intuition?
So what is intuition?
C'est quelque chose
Is it something that
qui
just
me
falls on
tombe
me by
dessus comme
chance?
ça. J'ai des
I have
élèves,
pupils, a
patients,
patient. It's the right time to tell him something that I wanted to tell him for a long time. This child, I can see that he finally wants to do something, so hop. Does it fall on me out of the blue? No. It's because during a long time, time long. Take your time. I have looked at him. I had my eyes on him. I was turned towards. I followed him. I protected him. And when the moment came, I knew him perfectly. A poet, not a pedagogue, the romantic Hölderlin said, "The master shapes his pupils like the ocean shapes the continents, by withdrawing when needed, and by intervening, thanks to intuition, when necessary." While I was preparing this talk some months ago, By chance, I put on the radio, and it was in Spain. They were interviewing a torero, and I heard, "Ah, but that is intuition." The very moment I put on the radio, and someone said, "Yes, but intuition can be dangerous." And he replied, "Yes, but listen. Firstly, when? At what moment?" And the torero said, "At two precise moments. First, when I want the bull to stand still behind me, without risk, to perform my little show in front of the public. Perhaps you've seen that, at least in films. The moment when the torero is in front of the bull, and the bull is there with 420, 450, 500 kilos, and the bull doesn't move. The torero has the intuition that the bull won't move, and he goes away just like this. And the bull doesn't attack him. The other decisive moment is the death blow. He says, I must have the intuition, be sure and precise, that the bull will not move, because we need this precise moment. And the journalist asked him, yes, but what about intuition? Then he said virtually the same thing as Pestalozzi and Maria Montessori. He's prepared this intuition for many years. And as soon as the bull gets him, he looks at him, scrutinizes him, judges him, and he knows how and when he can be sure. Sugar Ray Robinson, a pedagogue, one of the greatest middleweight boxers of all times. He was so gentle, a world champion for many years, around 1950. He was so sweet and nonviolent that they called him Sugar. And sometimes he had to. When it's time to intervene, he said, I study him. He never won in the second or third round. I study, and not only have I the intuition that I can double my uppercuts because he's tired, because he can't take any more, because he's demoralized, but I am certain that it's the right time to do it. In the Inferno, Virgil, the great poet, leads Dante for 3, 4, 5, 6 hymns. He gives him advice. He teaches him things. He scolds him if necessary. So much so that, I'll say it first in Italian, if you Italians can remember, Virgil calls him, Dante names Virgil, you duca, you maestro, you signore. You who lead me, duca. You who teach me, master. You, signore. You, the Lord, who is ready to intervene and to impose yourself and to scold me if necessary. At a certain moment, when Virgil thinks that he's taught him all that was needed, that from now on he can go alone, he can give him advice, then he says, here's intuition, it's time to leave. But they've already crossed almost all of hell. It didn't come at once. But Virgil sees that Dante can do it. So he tells him, it's marvelous, just imagine. Now I leave you. And he makes a beautiful metaphor. He says,
Di ormai ti lascio pur degli italiani, ormai per te ti ciba. Maintenant je te laisse.
now I leave you. From now on, you can feed
Nourris-toi
yourself.
seul.
Feed yourself. You can do it now. Go ahead. You're on your own.
Un des slogans
One of the
de
sayings of Maria Montessori is this:
est celui-ci.
the
L'enfant
child says to the adult,
à l'adulte,
to the
à
teacher,
l'enseignant,
help
aide-moi
me
à
to
être
be
seul.
by myself.
Maria Montessori dit aussi,
Maria Montessori also says,
doit
the good
savoir
master must know how to
s'élever
rise
au
to
niveau
the
de
level
Voilà,
of
j'aime
the
beaucoup
child.
vos sourires, de cette
I
manière,
really like your
parce
smiles,
qu'une fois,
because once,
après
after a lesson like this
une
one,
comme ceci, un
a man in the
Québécois
audience
me dit,
said to me, come here,
puis en faisant bien attention,
and being careful that no one would hear, he said,
me dit, mais vous
but
êtes
you're
fou.
mistaken.
Vous
Didn't
n'avez
you
pas
mean
dit,
to say
il faut
you must lower
s'abaisser.
yourself to the level of the child? I replied, no. Maria Montessori said one must rise to the level of the child.
Apprendre.
Apprendre, to learn.
Il a le mot prendre,
In apprendre, there is the word take, in French, prendre.
prendre. Et il y a le
And there is the a,
avec le
with a
dédoublement
duplication that is always
qui
made.
se fait toujours. Ce
This
a,
a
c'est une
is a
préposition.
preposition.
Il y en avait deux en latin.
There were two in Latin.
Une est
One is ab,
ab, l'autre
the other
est ad.
ad.
Au Moyen Âge,
In the
on
Middle
va
Ages,
encore
we still had apprendere
apprendre.
and apprendere.
Vous savez,
Ab, as you know,
venant
means
de
coming from. Ad
ad, c'est
means